colleagues from the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. Friends, I come from Housing and Urban Development Corporation. It's a public sector undertaking. Basically, we do finance the housing and urban development projects throughout the country. Well, recently we had an occasion to open this IT enablement through an equity participation. There being a Government of India company, we have approached the National Innovation Council under Dr. Sam Pitroda, and we are planning to take some equity participation through venture capital route, so that the bubbling entrepreneur IT graduates from IITs or NITs or whoever can come supplement and complement some of the efforts which our sector, that is housing and urban development, is looking for. As the presentation given by my senior colleague Mr. Prem Narayan, 51% of the human settlements in this country are going to be urbanized by 2030. Now, a gentleman from Microsoft has already told you about the pitfalls of the migration. So you are going to have in cities the slums and squat settlements on one end and the multi-storied complexes on the other. And you are going to bedevil this problem, whether it is in Dwarka or it is in Rohini or any new satellite township that's going to come. Now, how do you address these things faster? You have the urban governance principles on one side, which Mr. Prem Narayan had already mentioned about the Pimpri Chinchwad, the Pune Municipal Corporation and other new Bombay, the CITCO, what they're doing, and also what DDA is doing and so on. Now, what we are trying to do is, for all these ULBs, they're not completely IT enabled because of the capacity building constraints. Most important thing is not just the IT enablement, but also the capacity building of the people who are working in those municipalities. Now, through JNNURM, both the Urban Development Ministry and our Ministry, Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation, have tried to infuse a lot of money in the form of projects, integrated housing, human settlement programs, integrated urban development programs, IHSDP and BSUP, basic sanitation programs and all. So now coming to the city, what is important is the physical quality of life. The physical quality of life, on one side, if you see the spatio-functional manifestations in the city, the spatial means I'm talking about the slums and squat settlements on the other end and the past localities. That is one part of it. The second part of it is through your transport networks. There is a lot of work that can be done. You see the congestion factor in the city, let us say the city of Delhi or Mumbai. If you go to Seoul or to any other advanced countries, even in the Asian countries, advanced cities in the Asia, there will be an announcement on which route is better for you to go. Any user, I lived in Seoul on an assignment, and I used to get a message of which route to take, so that is another IT enablement. No, what I'm trying to say here is, when these ideas are there, if there is a venture capital, we have given about 50 crores, we have committed 50 crores to the National Innovation Council. And we are in funding such projects, if somebody is the proposer and projects. This is one part of it. The second part of it, many programs, somebody has asked about the parking. This parking, if you see in Calcutta, there is one place called New Market. There we have promoted, if we not financed, but we have promoted the SIM-based parking mechanism under the New Market in Calcutta, which is very highly congested. So if any of the bodies, if they propose to come forward, because we are at the moment not funding the private sector at the moment, simply because the land belongs to the urban local body. And if they come out with a proposal for any such SIM parking or any other type of thing, that kind of projects we are going to do. As a Housing and Urban Development Corporation, we are into providing urban amenities in rural areas. We are aware that in the due course of time, this is a pet project of earlier President Dr. Abdul Kalam, Abdul Kalam. He propagated a concept called providing urban amenities in rural areas, basically keeping in mind that the equity, even in the rural areas, if people remain there with all these facilities that are available in urban areas, half of the problem of migration is solved. The problem is, the pitfall is, the people who are coming from rural area to urban areas, they cannot fit into the kind of skill sets that are required in urban area. So neither they are fit here, and on the other side, the rural area is losing the potential because you are a youthful nation. India is one of the youthful nations where the productivity of the human resources is very important for us to achieve the desired GDP levels. Coming to the other point of sustainable development and then smarter cities. The sustainable development is not just for today, but for keeping in future in the mind. The resources that you're going to bequeath for future generations, and especially those which are non-renewable resources, for instance, petrol and other fossil fuels. Now, here, there's a lot of things that can be done through remote sensing, through, again, aerial photography, through AT enablement and other techniques of the spatio-functional planning. What I'm trying to tell you is, any development, whether it's city development or smart city development or any development, it takes care of, eats away some resources. Those resources, if it's eaten away on a faster pace, in the longer run, we will not, our future generations won't have the resources to live on. And that's where you need to keep an audit of the resources that you're going to use it. And it's a very difficult task. Unless you have a aerial photography based and resource audit, each city-wise or in the region-wise, it will not be possible for us to maintain such a healthy profile for the future. Now coming to the cities, smart cities, the secret of smart cities, the Government of India is going ahead with more than 10 million, like Mr. Agarwal had said in the morning. They are going to have the cities, smart cities all over India, at least 2 per state. But what is important for us to know is, if the people keep on coming into these cities, these smart cities, I do not know how far they are going to be different from the existing cities which are already facing lots of problems, whether transport or energy or whatnot. Now for that to happen, what is important is regional balancing. For instance, you have National Capital Region within Delhi, which has so many satellite towns. So what I'm indirectly or directly hinting at is a kind of hierarchy of settlements. In the census, you have tier 1 cities, tier cities, class 2, class 3, class 4. You need to have a hierarchy of development of these cities. While you have a plan for smarter cities, and every city is supposed to have a master plan, many of the urban local bodies, many of the Nagarapalikas, according to 74th Constitution Amendment, they're supposed to have an elected body. As in today, we do not have, many of them do not have elected bodies. So, what to talk about the governance and urban governance? The basic, fundamental, constitutional things have not been implemented. So, what you need to do, most probably from my point of view, as an urban planner, is you need to keep both spatial aspects and also the functional aspects. The spatial, I mean, is the physical planning. And the functional, I mean, is economic and environmental aspects. Because the development comprises of these 4 things, and if you burn the candle on both the sides, you end up nowhere. You need to have a balance, and you need to choose when to burn the candle and how much quantity, and also plan how to supplement and complement the resources. Now, coming back to some of the important projects which I feel are important for this is, we need to think of basic necessities of life, like water supply, sanitation, health, education. These are not there for you and me. We have access to these. This is not there for people who are poor. Whether it's rural area, we say that it's not, but they are better off than the urban counterparts. Now, we have through a JNUM project, we have biometrics, and whatnot, we have captured all the things. But at the post-implementation, whether the benefits are going there or not, that's most important. Because lots of money has been spent on the IHSGP, BSUP and IDSMP, that is, these are the projects of the Government of India. And because this is auditable and third-party monitoring is there, we do have...
Can we request to stick to that time?
Yeah, ma'am. So this is one of the issues which need to be monitored and kept in mind. The other point I would like to talk about is the cloud computing, which I was talking about, a platform for all the ULBs. See, urban local bodies who deal with the day-to-day civic management, property tax and all. This cloud computing, which is one aspect which help all the municipalities to plan their financial resources, select the resources and plan their own day-to-day governance. One important development, he was talking about DMI CDC. We have taken equity, HUDCO has taken equity of 20 crores. We have invested, 26% we have taken. And another corridor is also coming up with Amritsar to Calcutta. Another parallel corridor is coming up under DIP, that is Delhi, that is Department of Industrial Promotion and Housing. These two corridors are going to change the face of the urbanization and industrialization. So far, urbanization is leading to industrialization. That's why you find all these problems. If the industrialization leads to the urbanization, these problems will not be there. And these two corridors are going to change because they're going to bring all these concepts of mentioned in the smart cities. That is one of the basic components on which the Japanese and the Indian counterparts are working on in developing these things. There's a lot of fund coming up from your JMEC and ADB and other things. Friends, I wanted to just end with by saying there's a lot one can do by supplementing and complementing with the private and public participation. For instance, the ITC, the Chaupals for the villages. The similar e-governance for the urban areas. It's only for the payment collection and all. There are so many other services where these services can be used. And these MDM technologies are going to take, they have to capture all these aspects into their end-to-end management of these services in public-private partnership with the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.